Hey everybody, Tony DeFranco here. It's Mental Health Awareness Month, and I felt compelled to just have a series of open and honest conversations about mental health, specifically along the lines of depression and anxiety disorders, as those are two things that I happen to have a little bit of experience with. And yesterday I shared a message for people who might be dealing with issues of anxiety or depression. And today I would like to address my message to people who might be close to somebody who could be suffering from issues of anxiety or depression. So if somebody who's close to you, a loved one, somebody you live with, maybe somebody you work with or a good friend of yours, somebody that you're close with is not themselves, is struggling with some issues lately, I have a message just for you today. And I want to just throw a couple statistics out there for you. First of all, just talking about clinical depression and clinical anxiety, there are more than 30% of Americans that deal or have dealt with those issues at one point in their lives. So even though nearly a third of Americans have dealt with clinical depression or clinical anxiety, only about a third of those people ever actually seek professional help. The problem in America is so prevalent that if you were to walk down your street and knock on every single door, you'll find almost one person in each house that can relate to some aspect of clinical anxiety or depression. So why is it, if it's such a prevalent issue in America, that more people don't seek help for it? And we're going to talk about that in a minute. But first, I want to talk about this period of time that we're in right now, this coronavirus pandemic that's caused a lot of stay-at-home orders, a lot of lockdown. We're experiencing really a mental health crisis in America right now. For example, recently a Kaiser Family Foundation poll showed that nearly 50% of all Americans have said that this COVID issue has negatively impacted their mental health. Also, there was a federal emergency hotline for people with mental health issues in April saw a 1,000% increase in phone calls that they received over the same period of time in April of last year, a 1,000% increase. So why is it that people who deal with issues of depression and anxiety don't seek more help from people around them or from professionals? Well, to answer that question, the only thing that I can really do, I'm not a clinician, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist, but I can relate to you my experience, what it was like. Let me give you a little background. When I was 17 years old, I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder and generalized anxiety disorder. And I'm 48 now, so for 32 years, I've learned a lot throughout that journey. And the question is, why don't we, people dealing with these issues, seek more help or talk to more people around us, talk more openly and honestly about it? Well, I'm not going to be able, if you don't deal with issues of depression and anxiety, I'm not going to be able to help you to understand what that's like, but I can give you a little antidote of something that I think that might help you relate. Have you ever had a dream where you need to scream out to something? For some reason, you need to yell. Somebody's in danger, you're in danger, and you need to scream out for somebody to hear you, but the words don't come out of your mouth. No matter how loud you scream, you're open and you scream as loud as you can, and nothing comes out. The words just stop right here, no matter what you do, right? Or how about this? Maybe in your dream, you need to run. You need to run fast. You know you need to run fast. Something's coming up behind you. You need to run to something. You need to run away from something. But your legs are like stuck in the mud. You can't even you're trying to run as fast as you can, but here comes your left leg trying to get in front of your right leg even just one time, and you can't even take a single step, and you're trying as hard as you can. You're thinking as hard as you can. I need to run. I need to run. I need to run. I need to run. But your legs don't work. And that's what it's like in our minds sometimes. And here's another major reason why we don't reach out for help. A couple reasons. We're embarrassed. We don't want people to know. I can tell you that there are times in my life that I was really struggling with something, and I didn't want anybody to know about it. And if my wife or if somebody very close to me knew what I was going through, I didn't want anybody else. I didn't want colleagues. I didn't want friends. I didn't want anybody else to know about it. It's embarrassing. People will think less of me. People won't understand, and so because of that, a lot of times we tend to withdraw. Another thing is that we're afraid that we're not going to get the support that we envision or that we hope that we would get from people around us. Now, let me tell you this. If somebody close to you is dealing with issues and you're worried about whether or not you're going to be able to understand and offer support, listen to me about this. First of all, it's not a prerequisite that you understand somebody else's mental health issue in order to love them. You can love somebody without knowing what it's like to be them, right? You can love somebody and care about somebody and support somebody who is dealing with a mental illness. You don't have to have the mental illness in order to be able to support and love somebody. So what can you do to support your loved one who might be dealing with issues of anxiety or depression? There's no way in a matter of a few minutes of a video that I can give you comprehensive counseling on all of the things that you should or shouldn't do. And there's no way that I can speak directly into your situation, nor am I qualified to do so. But what I can do is I can share with you open and honestly what it was like for me. And I can tell you what's helpful and what's hurtful coming from somebody who was dealing with these issues and needed support. Because you know that we are embarrassed, afraid, because you know that we feel lonely and isolated from the world when it comes to these issues, you can try to put yourself in a frame, in a non-defensive frame, to help mitigate those things. For example, be an active listener. So I really, as somebody who's struggling with a mental health issue, I really do want to tell you about it. I really do. But I'm being held back. Remember my analogy about the dream. There's something that's holding me back. So what is it helpful for you to do? It's helpful for you to encourage me to talk about my feelings and to be an active listener, to say, I'm listening to you. I want to hear what you have to say, to ask some probing questions that are kind of semi-evasive, like, how does that feel for you? How does that make you feel? So when you're in this situation, what is it like? What about when this happens? Ask some probing questions to get the person to open up a little bit more. One thing that I would caution you against is don't compare your problems with theirs. So for example, if I come to you and I say that I'm really struggling with this relationship that I have in my life, and your response is, well, you think that's bad. Wait till you tell me, wait till you hear what I went through, or wait till you hear what I'm going through. Well, now, how does that help me? It doesn't. So don't make it about you. Listen to what the other person has to say. Now, I'm not saying you can't talk about your feelings, because you should. And if you have somebody whose behavior is causing issues in your life, you can certainly talk about, so let me tell you how I feel in this situation. Use feeling words. Talk about that. Be supportive and offer support. Ask questions like, do you think that you need to talk to somebody? Would it help you to talk to a professional? Would it help you to talk to a counselor? Would it help you to see a psychiatrist or a doctor? What type of person would you feel more comfortable talking to? Would you feel comfortable talking to your primary care physician? Would you feel comfortable, talking to your pastor in your church or somebody else who's an authority that might be in a position to help? Just kind of throw some options out there to let that person know that whatever direction they decide to go when they seek help, you're going to be there for them. And in the same respect, you can even offer, because I mentioned in my video yesterday that that a lot of times we get, as the person dealing with anxiety and depression, we get overwhelmed because we don't know where to turn. So it's like, gosh, who do I call? What do I do? What do I do? It's not a bad idea to throw some suggestions out there and say, I know somebody who might be able to refer a good psychologist or a good counselor, a good therapist, or a good psychiatrist. Or would you like me to help you find somebody that you can talk to? Would you like me to help you find somebody who can take your insurance? Would you like me to, or just offer to drive them if they make an appointment somewhere and say, would you like it if I drove you to an appointment? If you made an appointment to see somebody, would it be helpful if I took you there? Anything to show that you're on their side when it comes to them seeking help is going to be helpful. Ask what you can do. Just say, how can I help? Just something as simple as that. What can I do? Ask this question. How can I be a support to you today? How can I support you? What can I do? Ask a question just as simple as that. And that puts the person off of their defensive stance and helps them to open up to say, just sitting here listening to me really helps. Or could you help me find somebody to talk to? Because I don't even know how to do that. Just opening that question up is huge. The other thing that you need to do is recognize if the person around you is a serious threat to themselves or others. So they're having serious chemical dependency issues, or you think that they might, even have suicidal thoughts. If that's the case, I would strongly urge you, because you can't make somebody else do it, I would strongly urge you, 1, to encourage that person to reach out to a professional. 2, reach out to a professional. I'm saying this to you as the loved one. Reach out to a professional. You call. You make an appointment. You call the crisis helpline. And in these videos at the end, you're going to see some text with some phone numbers that you can call. And in the comments of these videos, you're going to see a lot of resources and so forth. You make the call and you get professional guidance on what you can do to help this person. If you think that somebody is in imminent danger, call 911. If you are concerned that somebody is going to harm themselves or harm somebody else, call 911. It is better that an ambulance shows up to somebody's house and nothing is wrong than we never make the call that we wish that we had made. And just the fact that you're here listening is significant and it matters. Yesterday, I had a conversation with people like me who have struggled with or might be struggling with depression or anxiety. Today, I'm talking with the loved ones around those people. Tomorrow, I'm going to be talking to employers because I've been in a situation where I have been an employee dealing with mental health issues, and I've been an employer who's had employees dealing with mental health issues. So if you're an employer, whether you've dealt with this in the past, think that you might be dealing with it now, or there's any possibility you could be dealing with it in the future, you'll definitely want to tune in tomorrow and listen to what we have to say, what we have to talk about at 3:30 p.m. Central Time. And then on Thursday, I'm going to be talking to healthcare providers. And then on Friday, I'm going to be sharing a message of hope that's for all of our audiences. And that's going to be fun. We're going to do a couple stupid things and see what happens. So we'll have a good time on Friday, but hope to see you tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening to these videos. Thanks for sharing. A lot of people reached out to me today, and I really very much appreciate it. And hope this is helping somebody out there. Have a great day. God bless you.